Hello, welcome to part 2 of the Foundation of Yoga Alignment series. I hope you enjoyed the first video, and if you haven't seen it, recommend going to check that out. Today we will be going over a few more standing on all fours poses, checking in with the alignment, and finding what feels good in your body so we can start cultivating a steady, consistent practice. First pose we will be going through is mountain pose. Standing, traditionally it's at the front of the mat in sun salutations and things, but you can stand anywhere on the mat we would like me, standing in the middle, and feet spread a little bit apart. And I want you to stand here for a second, just where you think your alignment is. Feel what that feels like in your body. Mountain pose is a very foundational pose, and the only thing that's touching the mat is our feet. So we want to make sure that we are really grounding and our weight is evenly distributed. And now I want you to lift your toes and notice if you had a tendency to fall back a little or fall forward. So when we lift up the toes, that tells us where we need to be to stand within the four corners of the feet, which are the ball joint of the big toe, the pinky toe, and both corners of the heels. So once we find that, we can lower the toes. We figure out where we need to stand, how we need to hold ourselves on our feet. See this? We're learning so much. And then we start going up the body. We firm through the legs. We tuck the pelvis in just a tiny bit, trying to find that middle line where everything is being pulled up on a string. Hi, sun. Through the crown of the head. So we're here. We're pulling up through the middle, reaching up through the crown of the head. And we bring the shoulders down and back, drawing them together. Really opening the chest, feeling the collarbones widen here, not sticking out the ribs, just feeling it open. And we can have the arms by the sides, the palms facing towards the legs, or we can have them open to the front. And we take a few breaths here. And the second pose we will be going through is forward fold. So I'm going to face this way so we can see me better. So from mountain pose, we place the hands on the hips because what we are trying to do with forward fold is lengthen through the spine, not touch our forehead to our knees. We want to find length in the spine. So we are going to hinge from the hips, so we don't do one of these. We don't like these guys. So standing nice and tall. Inhale, and on the exhale, hinge forward from the hips. Sending the sit bones to the sky or the ceiling. You can pretend it's the sky if you're inside. Sending the sit bones to the sky. You can bring the hands down to rest on a block like this or like this, or maybe right here, wherever we need to. If we don't need it, that's okay. If we would like to keep a bend in the knees, if that feels better, do it. So keeping length in the back and folding over, letting the head hang. Letting the head hang. Releasing any tension in the neck. And our next pose is halfway lift. So from here, if we would like to use a block to lift up, we can do that. We are extending through the crown of the head, keeping this nice length in the spine, sending the sit bones to the sky, feeling a nice stretch in the hamstrings. Have the option to place the hands on the shins, on the ground, as long as we have a flat back. We bring the shoulder blades down, we gaze slightly in front of us. And we can release that one, shake out the legs a little. Come down to all fours. Maybe take a child's pose here. Whatever you need to do here. And whenever you're ready, we'll begin downward facing dog from all fours. So if we remember, shoulders stacked over wrists and hips over knees, flat feet, firming through the tops of the feet, grounding through the hands. And this time, for downward facing dog, we want the hands a little bit higher than the shoulders. So we're going to tuck the toes here, and on your next exhale, raise the knees and slowly send the hips back, pressing through the hands, grounding through all of the fingers. Starting to pedal the feet. We want to keep the feet a little bit apart. We want to find some space. Just opening up the backs of the legs here. And if your heels touch, we should find a little bit more space between the hands and the feet. Downward facing dog is technically a resting pose, but it didn't feel that way for me for a while, and I think you just have to get comfortable in it. Move around, and then once you find comfortability, you are able to rest in it a little bit. It sounds crazy right now, but so we are here, letting the head hang between the biceps, trying to send the sit bones to the sky and the heels to the mat. If we have wrist sensitivity or this is tiring the wrists, one, by consistent practice, we will build up strength in the wrists. And two, we can ground more between the space between the index finger and thumb. Really ground between there to help take a little bit of tension off of the wrists. And we're here and finding what feels good to you, to your body today. And on an inhale, we're going to lift the heels, shifting the weight forward, coming into a plank pose, grounding through the hands, broadening the shoulders behind us, the shoulder blades, sucking the navel into the spine, firming through the legs. And for four-limbed staff pose, we slowly lower, keeping the elbows tucked into the sides, keeping a nice long line, lowering everything at one time. Holding here, gazing forward, and we can release to the belly. And for Cobra Pose, we want the hands underneath the shoulders, spreading through the fingers, and on an inhale, pressing through the hands to lift up the chest. Taking nice breaths here. Firming through the buttocks, the legs, pressing through the tops of the feet and all of the fingers, keeping the shoulders down and away from the ears. And we can slowly lower down and press up to a sitting position. Because you did it, made it through the next 6 poses. I hope this helped answer some questions we may have had about alignment in poses, or help us find joy in yoga and want to begin to cultivate a consistent practice. If we have any questions or comments, leave a comment below. Like, subscribe, share this with your friends, do yoga with friends. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed these 2 videos on the foundations of some beginner common yoga poses, and stay tuned for my next 2 videos on flows, the beginner, gentle, fun flows to get us into matching movement with breath and having fun. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you. See you next time.